Hiya, Thomas. Mark from Sky Sports. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Hi, Mark.
Fantastic. That's a good start. Congratulations on your first week in the Premier League. I think we've seen the very best from Brentford in two capacities, both as a footballing side, the way you played against Arsenal and won the match, and then the community spirit and the community involvement that the team has with the fans, with that moment with Woody. Could the first week in the Premier League have gone any better for you and your club?
No. That's very rare that you can nail that combination of performance on the pitch, off the pitch, with the community. It was remarkable, I must say, Mark, in many ways. I think it's a moment to look back on in many years going forward. I think a top 5 game to remember for everyone involved in the club and fans, maybe in 20 years' time, because everything just come perfectly together Friday night.
In terms of what you achieved and what you've done, have you now set yourselves a really high bar?
I think I said after the game, we need to celebrate the every win. We also did that last year in the championship. I believe massively in that. But Saturday morning, we had to go again, be focused, looking towards Crystal Palace, put a good performance in. After the game, we went around to the fans, but for you guys who's not in the championship or didn't follow in the championship, we did that, since I took over at Griffin Park, every game win, draw, lose. So we didn't create too much of fuss, of course. We are very pleased, very happy. What I would say is that I would be very disappointed if we don't put a good performance in on Saturday. If we win, I don't know, but I'm 100% sure we'll put in a good performance in terms of effort and focus. And then we hope on the day we also have the quality to get a win. Yeah.
We're in the middle of a transfer window. The clock is ticking. The football club has been active and you've managed to bring in some new faces to the club. How close are you to potentially adding to your squad?
I would say we are always in the market. We're always looking for a potentially good option. But we don't have anything close. It's not that we need anything in a specific position at all. I'm pleased with the transfer market we have had so far. I'm pleased with the squad. We are in a good position.
Is there one? You talk about being fairly happy with what you've got. Is there one position, if you could just get one more player in, what position perhaps would that be?
I would say if we should get one more player in, I would say it's more important for me. It's a quality player than a specific position.
Looking ahead to your second game in the Premier League, a London derby against Crystal Palace, and of course an incredible manager in Patrick Vieira, who is an icon of the Premier League. What are your thoughts on taking on the challenge of taking on Crystal Palace? How difficult a game will it be?
I think it's going to be very difficult. I think you say it's spot on. We all know that Selhurst Park is one of Selhurst Park, not Past Park, is one of the most difficult places to go in the Premier League. It's the first time they will have fans in. They will be, on top of us from the first minute. I'm completely sure of that. I need to praise Crystal Palace because they are a Premier League club who's been in the Premier League for the last 8 years, done very well, very consistent in everything they do. I think they've become between 10th or 15th in the last 8 years, and it's a very difficult team to break down. I agree with you, a very new, interesting manager in Patrick Vieira, that as a player was unbelievable. And then I think from my point of view, when he became a manager, he's been taking a good route, a good pathway, first to New York City for a couple of years, then to Nice and Ligue 1, and now Premier League. So, a step every single time. So it's going to be a very tough test, but we are confident, believe in ourselves. We will go there and do our very best to be brave again. and I know it'll be very, very difficult in spells, but we'll do our best.
And finally, from me, we've been asking a number of Premier League managers about vaccinations for players. What's the kind of protocol at Brentford? What's your advice been to your players about whether they should be getting the jab or not getting the jab? What have you sort of had in terms of conversations with the players about what you feel is the right thing for them to do?
I think we all have a responsibility to do our best to fight this worldwide pandemic, and we can do that by taking the vaccines and get the double jab. So that's my advice as well to the players. But we're living in a world where every single individual can make their own choice. So I'll never force anyone to do it. I'll recommend it, but if they believe in something else, then that's the way it is.
Thanks very much, Thomas. All the best for the weekend.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Can we have Olivia from PLP, please?
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Olivia.
You spoke about, obviously, that incredible win against Arsenal. What has it done in terms of confidence for the players? Can your squad get any more confident right now?
No, I don't think so. Of course, it was a good performance against the top side in Arsenal. Arsenal. So that, of course, gave us a lot of confidence. But Premier League is more than Friday night under the floodlight at our new stadium, opening game where everything is buzzing. It's also away to Crystal Palace, Selhurst Park. So we need to perform in different environments and show that we can be consistent, which I believe, of course, we can. But I'm very, very aware that it's going to be a difficult game on Saturday. We need to use our confidence going into the game, but be very humble. So as I constantly say, show the right attitude, confident but humble. If you can find that balance, then I think we'll be fine on Saturday.
And how is your squad looking in terms of team news for that Palace game? Is there anyone that's out? Anyone that's going to miss the game?
No, all players that were available for Arsenal will also be available for Palace.
And in terms of that game against Arsenal, there was obviously all the pressure was on Arsenal, you could say, ahead of that game. Do you feel like because of that result now, most of the pressure's gone onto you for this Palace game?
No, I don't think so. Then I think we need to prove a little bit more than just in one game. For me, if you ask me, Palace has been in the Premier League for 8 years. I just said that they've performed very well. Can't praise the club enough for doing very well in a very difficult and competitive league. So for me, Crystal Palace must be favourites. They tried this a lot of times, a lot of years. They line up their hat against Chelsea, a lot of experienced players, more or less. 9 to 10 of them played in that Crystal Palace team. So it's going to be a tough test, and we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Thomas. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Can we have James from Talksport, please?
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm very well, James. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thomas, you spoke about what the atmosphere might be like at Selhurst Park on Saturday. Are you doing anything to prepare your players for that? Because it would have been, I think, 17 months since they'd have played as an away team in a packed stadium. Not specifically. I think it's very difficult to replicate that atmosphere we're going to face on Saturday. The good thing is that a lot of our players have also played in big stadiums in the Championship. For example, Ellen Road, as pretty hostile as well. So I know I agree with you. It's 17 months ago. So there can be spells where we maybe feel that pressure, but hopefully it's only for minutes. And then, we all know games will level and then we go again. There's been an image which you'll have seen, which many people will say is already the standout moment of the season, the picture of yourself and Woody following the full-time whistle against Arsenal. What have you made of the fact that it's become such a distinct image which has gone viral around the world?
Of course, I've seen the pictures because a lot of people have sent it to me. But there's a lot of
pluses with not being on social media, which I'm not. So I actually didn't know how popular it was before my son texted me and said, you know what, it's on this and this platform and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I'm pleased for Woody. I'm pleased for... I don't know what I'm pleased for. It's just me in a moment, not thinking, just acting natural. If I should pick one moment that I'm more proud of being part of, is when Saka came on the pitch and the way our fans more or less stood up and gave him a fantastic reception. That for me is a top moment. Of course, Woody is as well. But there we're talking about that I was very proud to be part of Brentford when we applauded Saka.
Absolutely, Thomas. And it was pretty much a perfect night. One thing you said after the game was you said there were spells that you were not satisfied by. So what improvements are you looking to make for the Palace game? Because it doesn't seem from the outside that there's many that you need to make.
No, I think as a manager or head coach, you always search for that perfect game. I know we also need to understand our level. We're facing a team where they have Pepe, who probably cost more than our entire squad together. So it's top players we're facing. So I can't expect just to dominate Arsenal through 90 minutes. But I'm very pleased that we wanted to serve to win. But in spells, I would have loved if we have a little bit even more brave on the ball, could have played a bit more, also just to take pressure out of it. Of course, sometimes you need to game manage it and go longer. So it's not that we just play. But in spells, I want us to do that even better. But overall, it was a top performance that we will do our very best to replicate again on Saturday.
And just finally for me, Thomas, I want to talk about your midfield in particular. How pleased are you with the options you have and the performance you were able to put in that first game, considering you're without two supremely talented midfielders at the moment in Jensen and De Silva?
I agree. It's if everyone was fit, most likely, it's difficult to say, of course, but there's a big chance that both of them would have started the game. So it's fantastic to have Vitaly and Frank doing an unbelievable job, and Christian, of course. So I think we need to have that strength in depth to play this game, to also have different types. To be fair, I think for this game, it was good to have the types of Frank and Vita that are two pressing machines. They are constantly going, and they must be a nightmare to play against. And they were a big part of why we were successful Friday night.
Brilliant, Thomas. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can we have Jerry from Haters next, please?
Hi, Thomas. You okay?
I'm very well. Hi, Jerry.
How are you? We spoke to Christian Norgard after the game, and he said, he admitted Palace away is a very different challenge to, as you just pointed out, Arsenal at home under the floodlights with your supporters. But he said that the key thing is to approach it in exactly the same way. And you said yourself it's about being confident but humble. How do you keep that mindset in your players? Do you constantly have to remind them? Is it balance that they have to sort of maintain themselves, or is it for you to somehow keep driving that message home?
I think it's a combination. I definitely constantly try to reinforce this message. Part of it is we need to keep the confidence, because confidence is 50% of a performance, if not more, from a footballer or an elite athlete. So they can do the tricky stuff, or they take the ball forward, or all that confidence is so vital. But also we need to keep our feet on the ground. We have won one game, one good performance. They all know that, and we have such a strong culture. So if I should give them a reminder, it is if we don't train well enough. So if there were spells in Tuesday's training, that's where I'm on top of them. If they don't do well enough, or if they don't do recovery runs well enough, or today if the quality is not good enough, that's where we need to be on each other to keep the standards high. So it's just become a second nature to do all our principles.
And you mentioned Crystal Palace and their success keeping in the Premier League on modest resources compared with some of the big clubs. Is that a sort of model for what you'd like to be achieving?
I think definitely if you look at Crystal Palace, deserve that praise for on a low budget to constantly produce good performances in the last 8 years in the Prem. I think it's very impressive what they have achieved over the last 8 years. So it's someone we look at and think, they've done something good. So all the small bits we can steal from everyone, and of course add it into our model, our way of believing. I think that's the way to go forward.
And just a quick word on Josh De Silva. Is he near fitness, or how long do you think that?
No, that's a longer one with Josh. That's a longer one. I can't put a specific weeks or month on. It's just a longer one.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Can we have Phil Curry from BBC Radio London next, please?
Afternoon, Thomas.
Afternoon, Phil. All good?
Yeah, good. Thank you. You're looking good yourself. Just a word on Palace. The last few years, obviously, their consistency has been somewhat assured with a Roy Hodgson approach, a new manager, a new approach. Tactically, therefore, does it make it more difficult to take on a team that's in transition like this with a new head coach trying to maybe go about things a different way to what had been around for the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes, especially the second game in the season. So, of course, we watch all the preseason games. So it's difficult to know what to expect completely. Of course, we also follow a little bit about what he did in Nice, just to have an idea of the style of play. But we can't be sure of the approach to the game 100% or the system. And that makes it a little bit more tricky to make that clear performance, but a clear preparation. But of course, we prepared for different scenarios, different system in the week leading up to the game. So I think we will be prepared for it. And sometimes in games also we experience that in Championship a lot. So we're used to that. Then we prepare for 4-4-2. Then we face the 3-5-2. We know that 75 minutes before the kickoff. So we need to be adaptable and ready to react from what we see from the team sheet.
You talk about confidence and humility and hunger and humility as well. And we know the humility comes out from the club in so many ways. Sergi Canos, though, displays the hunger because I think he played about 3 minutes of Premier League football ahead of Friday night. He's spoken so effusively about what Friday and the goal meant. He's a prime example of the hunger to play and achieve at the highest level that drives your squad on, isn't he?
Bang on. I think that Sergio always played with a big passion when he plays, and he can drive the team and the fans love him, and so he can get the fans on board as well. I think that's massively important. But if you see how he's a very good example of the strong culture in the squad. He's a winger playing a wing back, and that's relatively easy going forward. But it's more difficult when you have to defend. And the way he defended, the passion he defended with, the backstick, the 1v1 duels, the balls in behind, the focus, unbelievable. So I think that's a very good, how can you say, example of the status of the squad this moment in time.
And a practical question. If you'd been in the Championship, the first game would have been followed by a midweek game in the League Cup. I know there is one coming up this following week. How nice is it as a coach to get more training pitch time? Because obviously the Premier League allows that.
I love it. For me personally, I love to have a full week. Of course, I'm looking forward to, of course, one game at a time, that, Phil, but I'm also looking forward to the Cup game next Tuesday. But it's nice to have more full weeks to train and get what we want into all of the players, because we believe massively in training.
Finally, for me, just a question about Alvaro, the new signing. He comes in. He's had a really positive Olympic Games, which is fantastic. Is he in immediately to put pressure on David to say, that there's someone else here that is waiting to get between the sticks?
We wanted a high priority for us was to sign a good goalkeeper, preferably if we could sign one with a big potential that in the same time could put pressure on David. So that's fantastic. I would say that we want not only goalkeepers, but in this case, a goalkeeper and players in that can make the squad, the team stronger to compete with everyone, but also help the team when needed. And then in that little goalkeeper unit to push the training every single day. And Alvaro is a top keeper and a top personality, and he will make David better. And then hopefully wait for his opportunity at one stage.
Brilliant. Best of luck Saturday.
Thank you.
Can we have Jim Van Wyk from PA, please?
Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Jim.
Hi. Can I just check, Jensen, is he any closer to coming back, or is this foot still a problem?
He's better. He trained partly with the group today, so it's good. But he's out for the Saturday game.
Okay, still not bad. And Vissa, he was on the bench. Is he close, you think, to being involved?
He will definitely be part of the squad, and then we'll see what happens on Saturday. But he's getting closer. Like a good week of training, and a lot of small talks and meetings and video clips. So hopefully he's better and better prepared.
You talked a little bit about trying to keep the players and the squad grounded after Friday. Have you found it difficult, different, or just taking everything as it comes with all of the plaudits and all of the extra focus? You talked last week about the Premier League being a circus, and you're now sort of right in the middle of that.
Of course, it was in many ways crazy, extreme experience Friday night in many ways. As you said, the circus. I think I did media for 1 hour and 15 minutes, so that's quite a lot. So I got told by Chris that Sky have told Chris that we will not experience that amount of media before we win the Premier League. So I said, okay, let's try to win it then and see if we can top it. Nah. So that was extreme, of course, and there was a lot of impressions to take in on the Saturday and the Sunday, but now out of the way, it will always be a fantastic memory Friday night, but we are not only professional but also so dedicated to perform again on Saturday, so only focusing on that.
Just looking at the next set of games you've got coming up, are these blocks of the season really where you can realistically target getting results? Because after that then you've got some of the leading teams, but I guess if Brentford are going to be able to stay in the Premier League, then this run of fixtures against these kind of teams is where you really need to be getting more positive results again.
Yeah, I would say it will not change. My focus, the players' focus, is win the next game, do everything we can to win against Crystal Palace. We know that's going to be tough. Hopefully we win, and then we'll look forward to the next game Tuesday night against Forest Green. So I know that, and this is not disrespect to Crystal Palace, but I know that Crystal Palace is not as good as Chelsea. But we'll do our very best against each opponent and then take it from there.
That's great. Thanks very much. Best of luck.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Can we have John Lupo next, please?
Hey, Thomas, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, John. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You mentioned about how you were most proud of the ovation that the fans gave Saka when he came on. Would you say that also showcased the class and the spirit of the Brentford supporters?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that. I think it was. I think the whole game was a beautiful example of. And now I'm biased, of course, but praising our fans that how good they are, because I think also they were singing different kinds of songs towards Arsenal's players and fans and etc. and so on. And that's part of the game, during the 90 minutes. But we know there's something bigger than the 90 minutes. And I think they showed that in that 30 seconds or how much it was, they applauded Saka. So I think that's fantastic. That's how it should be.
Also, I was wondering if you knew there was a fan there. His name is Derek Burridge. He's 88. He was at the last top flight game that Brentford played before Friday. I was just wondering if you knew that.
Now you say it, I knew that he was there in the playoff final. But I think it's fantastic that he was there, and I hope he really enjoyed it.
You spoke about bringing Alvaro in and he'll provide competition for David. I know David didn't have a lot to do because Arsenal had very few chances, but how pleased were you with the performance of David when he did have to make a couple of key saves?
No, I think, it's not only about the key saves. I agree he had some key saves, but the way he distributed the ball during the game, his high positions throughout the game for both crosses and the balls in behind, and then of course the two good saves. I think he had a more or less spotless performance. Very pleased with him Friday night.
Also, we spoke about Ivan last week. He sent in some great balls, and his movement I thought was quite good. So could you just talk about also his performance?
Who, sorry?
Ivan, Tony.
No, Ivan. I think Ivan. A strong performance, worked very hard under pressure, high and low, very pleased with that. I think he was a very good target when we went longer. I think in all the other situations where there was a link-up situation, there was a very good situation where, the ball bounced after a second ball, first time around the corner to Brian in behind. Had some good balls around the box, set pieces, both boxes, big threat and a big help. A strong performance, and I expect more for him still, but a strong performance.
Finally, for me, I know you've mentioned a lot already about Crystal Palace and the game against Chelsea and Patrick Vieira, but if you could just tactically, what do you think when you see them, or what do you think will be the keys in order for you guys to perform well?
I think there's a few things. I think we need to be very aware of that they will come at us at Selhurst Park. I'm not in doubt about that. So we need to handle that spell well, in combination of playing, but also to handle the pressure when we get under the pressure. Then I think they are a very strong counter-attacking team. So when we have the ball, we need to be well organized behind the ball. So we will lose it eventually sometimes if we don't put it in the back of the net, and that's where we need to be very, very sharp.
Cheers. Best of luck on Saturday, Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Finally, we've got Jim from RCB Sport in Ireland.
Hi, Thomas. Thomas, you mentioned some interesting points there about coming off that win against Arsenal in the first day, and obviously Crystal Palace playing Chelsea, the Champions League winners. Just in relation to coming up against Crystal Palace the next day, is it very much going into the unknown in terms of preparing for an outfit that if you're up against a Leicester or West Ham with David Moyes, Brendan Rodgers, you know what they're about, what they're going to do. With Patrick Vieira, almost Crystal Palace had a free pass maybe the first day out against Chelsea.
Yeah, it is definitely more difficult to prepare for them because we don't know exactly what kind of system they're coming with. We don't know exactly what type of players he will play with, because of few injuries, players coming back. But we have an idea of the different scenarios, and that's what we try to prepare the players for.
And you mentioned that counter-attacking threat, and we know with Wilfred Zaha is a Jordan Ayew. They'll normally fill out wing roles out on the flanks, and then probably you have Christian leading the line as such in terms of trying to throw his muscle around there. So obviously you mentioned that transition game. So Crystal Palace, it's really about pace, really, to stop their wingers getting up ahead of steam, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I think they have some really, really strong players that can carry the ball forward. Zaha, of course, I completely agree. Then we're a little bit in doubt who will play on the other side. But these two players are players we need to be very aware of. Everyone knows that.
And Thomas, finally, going into this game against Crystal Palace, to have that win under your belt, that 3 points, and not having to wait or endure going to a few fixtures, is there almost a release now in terms of getting that sort of first win that you can sort of build on it? There's no real hesitation in the camp, wondering when we're going to get off the mark. You've hit the mark, you're off the ground running, so you can really start to build on it from now on. There's no bit of early season jitters.
I actually don't think like that. I'm just
more hungry, more desire to get the next win. I completely buy into that. We need to get the confidence of winning some matches, but for me, it's just give us even more desire to do everything we can to put a good performance in and get another 3 points.
Cheers, Thomas.
Thank you, Jim.
Right, thank you, everyone. So that's the end of the broadcast section. Everything from now on is under embargo, the normal Saturday paper embargo, 10:30 on Friday. If I keep in hand, please, we'll call things for